The frozen poles are a blistering, sub-zero wasteland where the cold literally shatters your bones, and starvation is a daily guarantee. In this video, you'll endure the brutal life of 10 polar animals, starting with the first one, the Greenland shark. You hatch inside your mother, fully formed and already moving before you ever touch the ocean. A short while later, she releases you and 9 others into the deep. And the moment you're out, you begin to drift apart, each of you floating in your own direction. Once the last one is gone, your mother turns and leaves without even pausing or looking back to see if you're all okay. The water is close to freezing, but your body stays warm. You're not built like other fish. There are chemicals in your skin that stop the cold from breaking you down. You move slowly through the dark. Your body isn't built for speed, and there's nothing around that pushes you to go faster. You're in no danger, but you're not safe either. You exist somewhere in between, and that's where you'll stay. For a long time, nothing around you moves. You hold your place in the water, and the world around you acts like you're not even there. Your siblings are no longer in sight, and even though you remember their shapes beside you, there's no instinct that tells you to follow. Eventually, something larger drifts overhead, and without thinking, you stop moving. It doesn't turn or react, and soon it disappears into the dark like it was never there. You wait a little longer, just to be sure nothing else is coming. Then you start moving again. Not toward anything, just away from where you were. You haven't eaten yet, but down here, something always dies eventually. You're a few weeks old now, drifting lower into the water until the surface is far above you and the light no longer reaches. You stay around 500 meters deep, where almost nothing moves quickly and almost nothing wastes energy. Your body temperature is close to freezing, and your metabolism is slower than almost any other predator on the planet. You don't burn fuel quickly. You don't need constant meals. You can go months without eating if you have to, and nothing inside you will panic. Eventually, you find something, a small fish, already dead, drifting downward through the water in a slow spiral. It's soft and too old for anything living near the surface to bother with anymore. You move toward it, jaws slightly open, ready to bite. Then you feel it, a low movement beside you. It's another shark, smaller than you but not by much. It's one of your siblings, though you don't recognize it. You drift slightly closer, and so do they. The fish spins between you both, and you match angles, silently shadowing each other. Then you both lunge. Your heads clash mid-water, not hard enough to injure, but enough to knock each other off course. The fish spins away, carried by the current, and by the time you recover, it's already disappeared into the dark. The other shark drifts back into the murk without hesitation. So do you. Down here, this is how it works. Nothing stays alive for long, and not everything dead gets eaten. You haven't seen anything bigger than you yet, but eventually, something will show up that wants the same meal. You're a couple of months old now, and something has changed. Small crustaceans have attached themselves to your eyes, latching on tightly and refusing to let go. They don't kill you, but they've blocked your vision almost completely. The longer they stay, the worse it gets, and eventually, you go blind. But that doesn't matter. You don't need your eyes to find food. You've never relied on movement or light to track anything down. Your sense of smell is enough to pull you across the seafloor, and your skin picks up faint electrical signals from nearby animals when they come close. Then one day, while you're swimming next to the seafloor looking for food, something shifts. A strange vibration moves through the water. You turn toward it, not because you're hunting, but because it doesn't match anything you've sensed before. It doesn't glide like a fish, and it doesn't stalk like a predator. It's metal. At first, it drifts slowly past. You stay still, tracking the buzz as it fades into the distance. Then it turns. The water around you begins to move. Not like a current. It's more focused and more directed. It's following you. You shift your path, but the pressure behind you stays constant, and the hum grows even louder. You sink a little deeper, but the thing mirrors you. It doesn't breathe and it doesn't pulse, but it moves like it's watching you. You angle downward, pushing yourself into thicker water, and after a long moment the hum begins to fade again. The pressure softens, and then the sound disperses. You don't know what it was, but it didn't feel like prey, and it didn't feel like something that should be here. Skip forward a bit, and you're a couple of years old now. You've grown only a few centimeters, just 1 per year, because that's the pace your body moves at. One day, a new scent reaches you. It's thick, unfamiliar, and far stronger than anything you've detected before. You follow it slowly, not out of hunger, but because it stands out in a way that's impossible to ignore. The current moves around you, carrying pieces of the smell in different directions, but they all point the same way. The scent gets stronger the closer you get, and eventually a shape starts to form ahead of you. It's not anything you've seen before. Bloated, heavy, and sinking slowly. The body turns in the current as it falls. You don't know what a moose is, but that's what this is now. Smaller scavengers are already there, clustered along the edges. They've started feeding, but none of them are large enough to take more than the surface. As you move closer, they scatter without resistance. You open your jaws and sink your teeth into the thickest part of the body. The flesh is tougher than fish, but it gives way eventually, and you drift backward to swallow before circling again. Then, something wraps around your tail. It's fast, and it moves without warning. A sharp pain follows as something digs into your flesh. Not a bite, but a stab. You twist violently and the grip loosens. You catch a glimpse of it as it retreats. It's a shape with arms and no bones, a flash of long tentacles, and a dark, waiting eye. It's a squid. It doesn't chase you. It curls back around the carcass and disappears behind the body. You back away slowly, keeping the wound on your side away from the current. You don't fight back. You sink lower into the dark and keep moving. You don't know what else might fall from the surface, but next time you will make sure that no one steals it from you. You're 50 years old now. You've grown half a meter since birth, and your body has thickened with time. A strong scent drifts through the water, and you follow it down. It gets heavier with every meter, until eventually the source comes into view. It's a sperm whale, lying on the seafloor with its mouth slightly open. You watch it for a while, slowly circling around it. It doesn't move, so you approach from below, keeping your pace steady. The body is large enough to feed you for days, and there's no sign that anything else has touched it yet. You reach the lower side of the belly and bite down. The skin resists at first, but tears when your teeth lock and twist. You pull free a chunk of soft flesh and drift back to swallow, already turning to take another. Then the body moves. The tail lifts slightly and drops again, while a faint contraction moves through the muscles beneath the skin. The mouth closes slowly, and its eyes open. It's not dead, it was just sleeping. You turn to leave, but it's already too late. The whale moves, turning through the water with enough force to shift the current around you. The tail swings in a wide arc and strikes your side, and although the impact doesn't break anything, it sends your body flying across the seafloor. You correct your position, but the whale is already preparing to strike again. And this time you see the tail cut across just behind your head. The force alone disrupts the water around your body and drags you sideways again. You don't wait for a third strike. You angle upward and begin to ascend, pushing yourself into the higher layer of current. Your body is heavy, and it moves slowly, but it moves consistently. The whale follows for a couple of minutes, but after a while, the movement behind you stops. The pain settles in gradually, tracing a long line across your side that will stay with you for a long time. You don't stop because there's nothing to wait for. You managed to survive this time, but next time, you'll have to be more careful. You're 150 years old now, and your body has finally reached maturity. You are ready to reproduce. You keep drifting forward through the cold, just as you always have, and nothing in your path suggests that anything will be different. Then a new signal brushes against your skin. It's a soft pattern of electrical pulses that moves through the current. You follow it without hesitation, because something in your body responds before anything else can. Eventually, you detect movement ahead. It's slow and follows no clear direction. It's another Greenland shark, the first you've encountered in 100 years. It doesn't acknowledge you, and it doesn't move away. It just continues through the water, keeping its own pace, not faster than you, and not slower either. You stay beside it for a while, then you take your chance and mate. The process is simple and short, and once it's done, the shark in front of you begins to drift away. You don't follow it. The connection is over, and there is no reason to stay near each other. You turn in the opposite direction and continue forward through the current. There will be no offspring nearby, and no sign of what took place. You don't know when you'll encounter another of your kind again, but somewhere, one of them will carry what you've left behind. Skip forward a bit, and you're 250 years old now. While you're swimming, as usual, something catches your attention. You detect a scent. It cuts cleanly through the current, thick with fresh blood. You shift your path and begin to close in, letting the trail guide you downward through the colder layer. The body of a dead seal appears a few minutes later. Some of the tissue is torn, but it hasn't been picked over yet. A 6-gill shark is already circling, smaller than you but much faster. Its turns are tight and sharp, cutting closer with each pass. You adjust your angle and approach the other side of the carcass, staying clear and aiming for the softest part of the exposed muscle. You don't look at the 6-gill, and you don't change direction, but it moves in anyway. Its strike is sudden. Jaws open, body twisting sideways, it tears across your side and veers off before you react. The cut is deep enough to throw off your balance, and your body tilts as you pull away from the kill. But this time, you strike back. As it turns for a second pass, you twist and lunge. Your jaws catch its side just behind the gills. Your teeth sink in and tear a long, ragged wound as it thrashes free. It bolts into the dark, trailing a thick line of blood behind it. You don't chase it. You're still bleeding, and the wound on your side hurts with every movement. You swim down into deeper water, away from the feeding zone, and into a colder, thicker space. You settle between 2 slabs of rock and wait. The bleeding slows over several hours. You stay there until the wound is mostly healed and your movement feels steady again. When you leave, you don't return to the kill. This wound will close, but the next one could go deeper. You're 400 years old now, and the water feels the same as it always has. You follow a familiar current along the seafloor, keeping steady as the flow begins to shift slightly. Something ahead is moving fast enough to disturb the pattern, but not enough to trigger alarm. You change your path slightly and continue forward. Then the pressure changes. The first strike hits from below and lifts your body just enough to tilt you sideways. Before you adjust, a second impact spins you over and leaves you inverted. You try to correct your position, but the response never comes. The orientation disables your movement, and the water begins pulling at you from every side. Another hit drives into your side, followed by a deep bite that opens your underside. You try to move again, but nothing happens. More bodies close in from different angles. Their movements are faster than anything you've encountered before. One takes your pectoral fin. Another clamps across your jaw and pulls. Your skin splits. Blood spreads through the water, but your body no longer reacts. You don't struggle, just slowly progress towards stillness. The killer whales leave as quickly as they arrived. They take what they need and leave the rest to sink. After 4 centuries of motion, feeding, and quiet survival, your body stops where the current drops it. It won't be buried and it won't be remembered, but others will pass by eventually, and they'll take their share too. That was the Greenland shark. Next is the emperor penguin. You hatch onto a block of solid ice in the middle of a screaming blizzard, completely dependent on a starving father who hasn't eaten in months just to keep from freezing solid. You come into the world with a small crack, a crack in the egg you've been packed into for the last 2 months, and your reward for all that effort? A face full of Antarctic wind so cold it feels like Mother Nature herself just slapped you. Forget warmth or soft cuddles. This is the Antarctic, where your first big life lesson is get used to it. Your dad's been sitting on your egg for weeks now. No food, no Netflix, just standing there keeping you warm while occasionally staring into the void, questioning his life choices. But let's not romanticize it. You're basically a foot warmer he's been dragging around while braving wind gusts that could probably knock over a truck. Now that you've hatched, he gives you a quick glance, lets out a tired sigh, and waddles off to finally get some food. Because let's face it, he deserves a break, and you? Well, you're on your own now. Welcome to life as an emperor penguin chick. Congratulations. You're now 2 days old, and here you are, stuck on the iciest, bleakest place on Earth, surrounded by thousands of penguins who are just as cold and miserable as you. Food? You'll get some, eventually. Dad's out there sliding across the ice like a feathered bowling pin, trekking miles just to reach the open ocean. Once he gets there, he'll dive into water so cold it would make most creatures faint, all to bring back some pre-chewed fish for you. Meanwhile, you're stuck here doing your best impression of a fluffy snowball in a never-ending blizzard. Luckily, you're not entirely alone. You've got your fellow chick pals to keep you company. Sure, they're just as clueless as you, but at least you can huddle together for warmth. A few weeks in, you've learned that the huddle isn't just about warmth, it's about survival. Stray too far from the group, and you'll quickly find out that skuas, those giant, menacing seabirds, have a thing for baby penguin snacks. Let's just say you're not eager to end up as lunch, so you stay close and waddle awkwardly to keep up. Inside the huddle, things are fine. Sure, it's warm, but it's also cramped, loud, and smells like a penguin convention after taco night. The adults take turns rotating positions so everyone gets a chance in the warm center, which sounds nice until you realize the middle is also where you're most likely to get pooped on. Small price to pay for not freezing to death, I guess. Just when you think you can't handle another minute of shivering, Dad finally returns. And guess what? He's brought food. Granted, it's partially digested fish that he spits directly into your beak, but hey, it's better than nothing. You slurp it up like it's a 5-star meal because, let's face it, you're starving. Of course, as soon as you're starting to feel full, Dad's off again to fetch more. The cycle repeats, waiting, eating, and trying not to freeze. Over time, you start to grow and your fluff thickens. You're waddling more confidently now, but the storms are still relentless. One wrong gust of wind, and you could find yourself sliding across the ice like a hockey puck. Fun for spectators? Not so much for you. Now that you're a few weeks old, it's time to start testing your balance, or at least trying to walk without immediately face planting. Walking on ice is tricky when you've got feet that are way too big for your body, but hey, you're a penguin. Awkward waddling is kind of your thing. The cold is still unbearable, but you're getting used to it. This is your life now. Endless snow, biting wind, and absolutely no chance of a warm beach vacation. But at least you're getting better at moving without falling over. Small wins. By summer, it's time to take the plunge. Literally. You're leaving the colony and heading to the ocean for the first time. This is your big moment, a chance to prove you've got what it takes to survive. But as soon as you hit the water, reality smacks you in the face. It's freezing. Like brain-numbingly cold. And as if that wasn't bad enough, there are leopard seals lurking beneath the surface, waiting to make a snack out of you. The good news? You're a natural swimmer. Your flippers, which made walking a nightmare, turn you into a sleek, speedy little torpedo underwater. The bad news? Leopard seals are faster. Out here, it's eat or be eaten, and you've got no intention of becoming someone else's lunch. After a few months of dodging predators and chasing fish, you're starting to feel like you've got this whole penguin thing figured out. Well, sort of. You're no longer the clueless fluffball you used to be, but you're not exactly a seasoned pro either. You're in that awkward teenage phase of life, just big enough to handle yourself, but still dumb enough to make some bad decisions. Life at sea isn't exactly relaxing. Sure, you've got freedom now, but it comes with a catch. You're completely on your own. Your days are spent hunting for fish, which sounds fun until you realize fish don't just sit there waiting for you. You have to dive, chase, and occasionally miss, all while keeping an eye out for predators. Oh, and speaking of predators, guess who's still around? That's right, leopard seals. They're bigger, faster, and sneakier than you, and that they're not interested in friendly conversation. The moment you spot one, your only option is to hightail it out of there like your life depends on it because, well, it does. And then there's the plastic. It drifts around the ocean like some kind of underwater junkyard. A plastic bag floats by, and for a second, you think it might be food. It's shiny, it's wiggling. How bad could it be? But no, something deep in your penguin brain tells you to stay away, and honestly, you should listen. One bite of that stuff, and you'll be regretting it long after it gets stuck in your stomach. Survival is hard enough without adding human trash to the mix. Loneliness? Yeah, that's a thing too. You spend months swimming solo, only occasionally bumping into other juvenile penguins. And when you do, it's not exactly a heartfelt reunion. They're too busy trying to catch fish or avoid becoming seal snacks to stop and chat. But hey, at least you're still alive. Out here, that's an accomplishment all by itself. After a few years of the solo ocean life, something inside you says it's time to head back to where it all began. Maybe it's instinct, or maybe you've just had enough of dodging predators on your own. Either way, you're going back to the colony, and oh boy, it's just as noisy and chaotic as you remember. But this time, you're not here to shiver and beg for food. You're here to find a mate. Easy, right? Wrong. The place is packed with penguins, all trying to impress each other with their waddles and calls. You'd better hope your waddle game is strong because the competition is fierce. The stakes? A lifetime of raising chicks, sharing body heat, and regurgitating fish for someone else. Romantic. Eventually, you find a match, someone who tolerates your awkwardness and agrees to partner up. Together, you take on the next big challenge, raising a chick. Your first job is to take turns guarding the egg, which means standing there for weeks, keeping it warm, and trying not to lose your mind. You think back to your dad doing the same thing all those years ago and finally get why he always looked so tired. As an adult emperor penguin, you've reached the top of the Antarctic food chain, which sounds impressive until you realize that just means you're less likely to get eaten than most things. You've seen it all. The storms, the predators, the endless hunger, and somehow you've survived. But don't get too comfortable. Time has a funny way of slowing you down. Your flippers, once powerful and fast, feel a little heavier these days. Hunting takes more effort, and you're not as sharp as you used to be. The cold seems colder, and even your trusty waddle isn't as reliable. One day, as you dive for fish, you spot a leopard seal. It's a familiar dance. You've done this 100 times before. But this time, something feels different. You're just a little too slow. Maybe you make it out alive, or maybe you don't. Either way, you know you're not invincible anymore. Life as an emperor penguin doesn't end with a big dramatic moment. Most don't die in some epic battle with a predator. They just get old, slow, and tired. One day, the ice or the ocean takes them back, and the cycle starts all over again. That was the emperor penguin. Next is the Arctic wolf. You are born blind and deaf in a frozen dirt hole, stepping out into a desolate wasteland where you must chase down prey 10 times your size just to survive the winter. You're born in a hole in the snow. It's cramped, dark, and cold. Your mom is curled around you and your siblings, but she's exhausted. She's been running on empty stomach for weeks, hunting, digging this den, and keeping herself alive long enough to get you here. The wind howls outside, and the snow presses in on all sides, but you don't notice yet, and that's because you're totally blind. Your only instinct is to crawl closer to your mom and fight for the best spot. You're already competing with your siblings, even though none of you can stand yet. You're small and at the bottom of the Arctic food chain, and you have no idea that it's only going to get worse from here. Your so-called family looks like this. There's one alpha pair, your mom and your dad, and they run the whole show. Your dad is the dominant male, and he's in charge of protecting the pack's territory, leading the hunts, and making sure no one steps out of line. Your mom is the lead female. She raises the pups and holds just as much authority as your dad when it comes to keeping the pack together. Then there are the subordinates, 3 other wolves. They're adults, but they're not in charge. They're the hunters and babysitters, doing whatever your parents tell them to do. They don't eat until the alphas have had their fill, and they stay in the pack because it's safer than being out in the Arctic alone. The pack has a strict pecking order, and you're at the very bottom of it. No one's going to listen to you, and no one's going to take care of you except your mom, and even that's conditional. If the pack has to choose between you and survival, you're not going to like their decision. This is the Arctic. There's no room for sympathy here. For now, though, the pack tolerates your existence. Your dad patrols the territory, marking the borders and making sure no rival wolves or predators get too close. Your mom stays close to the den, keeping you and your siblings alive. The other wolves bring back food, but it's barely enough to go around. The pack eats first, and whatever scraps are left might make it to your mom, if she's lucky. And if she's lucky, you'll get what's left of what's left. The pack isn't a family in the human sense. It's a survival unit. Everyone has a role, and yours, right now, is to stay alive without slowing them down. No one is going to save you if you fall behind. The sooner you figure that out, the better. After a couple of weeks, your eyes open. The world is bright and cold, and the Arctic wind doesn't care that you're still figuring out how to exist. You crawl out of the den for the first time and immediately regret it. The snow is everywhere, under your paws, in your fur, and in your face. You don't understand why your siblings are so excited to explore. They're bigger than you, stronger than you, and better at shoving you aside. The adults don't pay attention to you. They're too busy doing important things like scanning the horizon for threats or returning from hunts with scraps of meat. You're still entirely dependent on your mom, but she's got 4 mouths to feed and barely enough food to do it. The pack eats first, and the scraps are picked clean before you even get a sniff. You try to chew on frozen bones, but it's more effort than it's worth. When the pack moves, you follow, even though you're not built for it yet. Your legs are weak, your paws sink into the snow, and you fall behind constantly. Your mom stops to nudge you forward, but it's not kindness, it's practicality. A dead pup is a waste, and the pack can't afford to waste anything. Every time she pushes you forward, you feel smaller and weaker. You start to understand that no one is going to carry you. Eventually, the pack decides it's time for you to learn the basics of survival. They take you and your siblings out to watch the adults hunt. You don't get an explanation. You're just expected to watch and figure it out. The first target is a hare. The adults spread out, silent and deliberate, while you and your siblings stay behind. You're supposed to stay quiet, but you're hungry, impatient, and bad at following orders. The hare hears you before anyone moves, and it bolts. Your dad glares at you, and your mom doesn't even look in your direction. The pack regroups and moves on, leaving you to stumble after them. The next few hunts are no better. You try to copy the adults, crouching low and stalking through the snow, but you're too loud and too clumsy. Prey escapes every time, and the pack doesn't bother hiding their frustration. You're eating less and less now, and the gap between you and your siblings is starting to show. They're growing faster, getting stronger, and learning how to contribute, while you're still trailing behind. Winter comes, and it's worse than you imagined. The cold is constant, and the snow never seems to stop falling. Food is scarcer than ever, and the pack is constantly on the move, searching for anything to eat. You're forced to follow, even when your legs are numb and your stomach feels like it's caving in on itself. The adults manage to bring down a caribou one day, but by the time you get there, it's nothing but bones. You gnaw on what's left, trying to convince yourself you're full. The pack doesn't slow down. You keep moving, even though every step feels like it might be your last. The nights are the worst. The pack huddles together for warmth, and you're shoved to the outside. The wind cuts through your fur, and you shiver until morning. You start to wonder if you'll ever feel warm again. By the time spring returns, you've survived your first year, but barely. You're bigger now, but so is everyone else, and you're still at the bottom of the hierarchy. The new pups arrive, and they take your place in the pack. Your mom is too busy with them to care about you anymore. The adults push you aside when food is scarce, and you're left with nothing most days. Your dad, the alpha, starts to see you as a threat. You're not much of one, but he doesn't take chances. Every time you try to eat, he shoves you back. Every time you get too close to the new pups, he growls. It's not subtle. You're not wanted here. One day, the pack moves without you. You watch them disappear into the distance and realize they're not coming back. You're on your own now. At first, being on your own feels liberating. There's no more growling in your direction, no more shoving for scraps. You wander the tundra, following your instincts, surviving on whatever you can catch or scavenge. It's hard, but you're built for this. Hares are your usual target. They're small and fast, but you're faster now. Days turn into weeks, and you find your rhythm. You move constantly, hunting, resting, and keeping your distance from larger predators. Every now and then, you cross into the territory of another pack. Sometimes you catch their scent and steer clear. Other times, you come face to face with them. When that happens, you lower your head and back away. A fight isn't worth it. Not yet. You keep moving, covering miles of frozen ground, your nose always to the wind. You're not looking for anything in particular, but the Arctic has a way of surprising you. One day, while traveling across an open plain, you catch a scent on the wind. It's not food. It's not a rival pack. It's another wolf, a lone female. You follow the trail cautiously, your ears up, your steps quiet. Eventually, you see her in the distance. She's like you, thin, cautious, and alone. You approach slowly, careful not to seem like a threat. She doesn't run, and that's a good sign. The two of you circle each other, sniffing, sizing each other up. Neither of you has much to offer, just survival skills and the stubbornness that's kept you alive this long. It's not a romantic story, but out here that doesn't matter. You're both alone, and the Arctic is a lot easier to face with someone by your side. You start traveling together. At first, it's awkward. Two wolves used to being on their own, but over time you learn how to work as a team. Hunting becomes easier with the two of you. You take down larger prey, sharing the kills and eating more than you've eaten in months. You take turns watching for predators while the other sleeps. Slowly, you stop feeling like a lone wolf. As the seasons pass, the two of you settle into a routine. You wander the tundra together, hunting, resting, and marking a small territory of your own. Then one spring, everything changes. Your mate gives birth to 3 pups in a den she dug out in the snow while you were out hunting. The responsibility feels heavy, but it also feels right. You teach the pups how to walk, how to play, and eventually how to hunt. You lead them across the tundra, showing them where to find food and how to survive. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Your little pack is growing stronger every day. Life as the leader of your pack is relentless. Every day is a struggle to find food, protect your territory, and keep your pups alive. You hunt tirelessly, leading the charge against caribou, chasing down hares, and scavenging whatever you can to feed your family. Your mate helps, and the pups are growing stronger, but the weight of responsibility falls on you. You push yourself harder than ever because you have no choice. One day, while hunting, things go wrong. You're chasing a caribou, pushing through deep snow, When it kicks out and catches your leg with its hoof, the pain shoots through you, sharp and sudden, but you finish the hunt anyway. The pack eats, and for a moment, the injury doesn't seem like much. Just a scratch, you think. It's nothing compared to the challenges you've faced before. But days later, the pain hasn't gone away. In fact, it's worse. Your leg swells, and every step feels like fire. You start limping, falling behind your pack more often. The pups, who once looked up to you, don't understand why you're slower now. You still try to hunt, but the infection spreads. It's in your bloodstream now, and you can feel it sapping your strength. You stop eating, you stop moving. You lie down in the snow, far from the pack. They don't wait for you. They can't afford to. You don't blame them. You know how this works. You've seen it before. This is just the way of things in the Arctic. The infection takes hold, and the cold sinks into your bones. Your breaths become slower, shallower, until they stop altogether. There's no ceremony. You die the same way you lived, alone in the vast, unrelenting wilderness. The Arctic doesn't notice. The Arctic doesn't care. It just keeps going, and so will your pack. Hunting, surviving, and carrying on without you. The cycle continues. The Arctic always wins. That was the Arctic wolf. Next is the walrus. You are dropped onto razor-sharp, shrinking sea ice where the daily panic of stampeding 2-ton adults can crush you completely flat before you even learn to swim. You slide out onto the ice. Before you can even react, your mother presses against you, keeping you close. You don't know it yet, but without her, you wouldn't last a day. Your skin is thin, stretched over muscle with no insulation. You shiver because you don't have the one thing that keeps the others warm, a blubber. Instead, your blood vessels are close to the surface, giving your skin an orange tint as they work overtime to keep you from freezing. It won't be like this forever. Every gulp of your mother's milk is packed with fat, and soon the cold won't be a problem. But right now, it is. You move forward, your flippers slipping on the ice. Your mother's tusks scrape against the frozen surface as she moves. They are huge and covered in scratches. Meanwhile, you don't have tusks at all. You won't even start growing them for another 2 years. Right now, they would just get in the way. Your mother shoves you off the edge of the ice. The water pulls you under. You sink too fast, kicking your flippers without control. You try to move, but your body doesn't know how. Your mother watches from above, just waiting for you to do something. If you can't figure this out, she won't save you. You struggle, your front flippers spreading wide, but it does nothing. The water drags you deeper. Then the panic sets in. Your instincts scream at you to move, but nothing is working. Then something changes. You push down harder, kicking with your back flippers. This time you stop sinking, and you rise. You burst through the surface, gasping for air. Your mother is still watching. She dives beneath you, circling and waiting to see what you do. You don't get a break. She nudges you from below, pushing you forward, and you kick again. The whole process is slow, but it works. For the next few weeks, you barely leave her side. You copy everything she does. You learn when to dive, when to breathe, and when to rest. Your muscles strengthen, and you start moving and swimming faster. Skip forward a bit, and you're 2 months old now. You stay close to your mother, drink her milk, and rest on the ice while the herd moves around you. Most of the time, nothing happens, but today is different. Your mother lifts her head. The others do the same. Something isn't right, and you can feel it. Then your mother lets out a deep, loud call, and everything changes. The herd reacts instantly. Walruses slide off the ice one after another, splashing into the water as fast as their heavy bodies allow. Your mother doesn't hesitate. She turns and pushes you forward, herding you toward the edge. Then you see it. A massive polar bear moving towards the herd. Its steps are slow and careful, its head low as it watches the calves that haven't made it to the water yet. It is looking for something small, something weak, something like you. You push forward as fast as you can, but your flippers keep slipping on the rough ice. Your mother has already disappeared into the water, but you are still stuck on the surface, your body dragging as you try to reach the edge. The bear picks up speed. It knows who it is chasing now, and it isn't stopping. You push harder, flippers scraping against the ice as the bear closes the gap behind you. Its paws pound against the surface, but just as it lunges forward, the ice disappears beneath you and you drop into the ocean. The water slams into you, and for a moment everything is silent. Then a loud splash fills the water. The bear jumped in. It's super fast, much faster than you expected. You try to escape, but you are slow and the bear is quickly catching up. Then something rushes past you. It's your mother. She crashes into the bear's side, forcing it away before it can reach you. The bear twists in the water, its large paws swinging toward her, but she has already turned, circling back around to cut off its path. You don't stop to watch. You keep swimming, pushing yourself forward with everything you have. The bear hesitates. It watches her for a few seconds, its dark eyes locked onto her, but then it turns away. It climbs back onto the ice and disappears into the distance. You stay close to your mother, trying to process what just happened. You realize that you need to be more careful, because next time you might not be so lucky. You are 3 years old, and things are starting to change. You are bigger now, and no longer need to stay at your mother's side all the time. The herd is always moving, and every walrus wants the best spot on the ice. The older bulls don't have to fight for space. Their size and long tusks do all the talking. But for the younger walruses, nothing is decided yet. You climb onto a floating piece of ice and settle in. It's a good spot, solid, thick, and just big enough to rest without being crushed by an adult. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the ice hold your weight. Then something nudges your side. You open your eyes and see another young walrus standing over you. He isn't much bigger than you, but the way he stands makes it clear. He wants the spot and he isn't asking nicely. You don't move. He pushes harder, his body pressing into yours, trying to shove you off the ice. Your flippers spread wide, gripping the surface to stay in place. Then he swings his head forward, and his small, newly grown tusks scrape against your face. They don't do much damage, but that isn't the point. He's proving he's stronger. You swing back. Your tusks are just as small, but they are sharp enough to leave a mark. The moment they touch his skin, he shoves you again. Harder this time. You try to hold on, but your flippers slip. The ice disappears beneath you, and suddenly you are falling. You crash into the water, the cold shocking you for a second before your body adjusts. Above, the other walrus stands on the ice, staring down at you. You shake yourself off and swim to another part of the herd, pulling yourself up onto a different ice sheet. It isn't as good as the last one, but it will do. This time you lost, but you are still growing, and so are your tusks. Next time, things might be different. At 5 years old, the life in the herd is starting to feel normal. You've grown larger, nearly twice the size you were as a calf, and your tusks have finally started to take shape. Other young walruses respect you more, and pushing matches over ice space aren't as one-sided as they used to be, but size means nothing in the open ocean. The herd is swimming today, spread out across the water as the adults lead the way. It's peaceful at first, but then something changes. Clicks. You don't know where they're coming from, but they are everywhere. The adults start swimming faster. The younger walruses follow without hesitation. Then, the first one disappears. It happens so fast. 1 second, a walrus is just ahead of you, swimming toward the herd. The next, it's gone. Then another vanishes. The ocean is no longer safe. Orcas are here. You push forward, flippers cutting through the water, trying to keep up. The clicks get louder, bouncing off everything around you. The orcas know exactly where you are. A dark shape rushes past. Then another. They slice through the water, circling, waiting. The herd is too big to attack head-on. They want to separate someone. They want you to panic. Waves crash ahead as the orcas work together, breaking apart the formation. You get caught in the current, dragged into open water, and you're alone. Moments later, a shadow looms beneath you, then another. You kick hard, but it's too late. Then, something crashes into you from the side. It's another walrus, slamming its body into yours, pushing you toward the ice. You lunge forward, hauling yourself onto the ice just as the orca lunges too. Its jaws snap shut just behind you, missing by inches. Then it disappears, slipping back into the water as if it was never there. You stay on the ice, panting, heart pounding in your chest. Below, the orcas continue circling, waiting for another chance. Today, they didn't get you, but next time you might not be so lucky. Skip forward a bit, and you're 8 years old, no longer small, no longer weak. You are still not as large as the adult males, but you are big enough to hold your own. Most predators don't even try anymore, but some still do. The herd is packed together on the ice, resting after a long swim. You are near the edge, lying among other young males, soaking in the sun. Everything is calm. Then, something moves. The adults react first, heads lift, bodies press closer together. You push yourself up, turning toward the movement. Then you see it. A polar bear is creeping forward. It isn't big enough to take on a full-grown walrus. It wants something smaller, something it can drag away. The calves are in the center, protected by their mothers, but the bear is patient. It's waiting for a mistake, and it finds one. A young calf, resting too close to the edge. The bear moves faster. It only needs one lunge. But this time, it isn't the mother who reacts first. The herd surges forward all at once. The ground shakes beneath you as dozens of walruses turn toward the bear, moving as one. The closest male, twice your size, throws his weight forward, tusks swinging toward the predator. Others join him, their heavy bodies crashing into the ice. The bear hesitates. It tries to back away, but it is already too late. The largest males press in, surrounding it. The bear stumbles, stepping backward too quickly. Its paw slips, and it falls. The walruses don't stop. One of them swings his head, cutting deep into the bear's shoulder. Another slams into its ribs, sending it sliding across the surface. The bear scrambles to its feet, gasping for breath, and starts running. It disappears into the distance, dragging its injured leg behind it. You settle back down, pressing into the herd. The young walrus is safe, but this time, the predator was the one running for its life. At 10 years old, everything feels different. The deep bellows of bulls echo across the ice while the ground shakes beneath their massive bodies as they drag themselves forward. The air is thick with tension. The breeding season has begun. The dominant males move first. They are enormous with long tusks and skin covered in scars from years of battle. They take the best spots near the females without question. The younger bulls stand back, knowing they cannot compete. But you are not like them. You have waited long enough, and now instinct pulls you forward. A female rests near the edge of the group. Her tusks are shorter than the older cows, and her body is thick with blubber. She has not chosen a mate yet. You approach with slow and deliberate steps, letting her see you. She does not move away. That is when you hear the grunt behind you. Something heavy slams into your side and forces you to stumble. A young bull stands over you. His tusks are lowered, and his message is clear. Leave. You do not. He lunges first, but you see it coming. His tusks scrape your side, but the wound is shallow. You twist and drive your own tusks forward. You strike his shoulder and he flinches. That is all you need. You shove him back with all your strength and his flippers scramble for grip. The ice disappears beneath him. He crashes into the water and resurfaces moments later. He does not try to climb back up. He knows it's over. You turn back to the female. She is still watching, and this time, she does not move away. You are 15 years old now. You rest on the ice, body heavy from years of survival. The herd is calm, packed together in the afternoon sun, but something shifts. Dark fins cut through the water. The herd reacts. Calves disappear into the water. The largest bulls follow, pushing toward thicker ice. You move too, but not fast enough. The orcas are not chasing the young, not hunting the weak. They have chosen you. The ice beneath you tilts, a sudden wave crashing over the surface. The frozen platform cracks, shifting under your weight, and then it vanishes. You plunge into the ocean. The cold shocks your body, but you already know, this is not a chase. This is a game. The orcas don't strike. Not yet. They circle, moving fast, forcing you to turn, to waste energy, to struggle. One rushes past, its sleek body slicing through the water so close you feel the current pull you sideways. Another moves below, disappearing just as quickly. They could kill you now, but where's the fun in that? Then, the first hit comes. Not a bite, not a fatal strike, just a body slamming into yours, knocking the air from your lungs. You try to right yourself, but another force strikes from below, flipping you upside down. The world spins. You kick hard, but there is nothing to hit. They let you rise, let you catch a breath, just to rip it away again. One grabs your flipper, drags you down, then lets go, watching as you struggle back up. Another clamps onto your back, just for a second, before shoving you sideways like a toy. Again and again, they take turns, watching you fight, watching you panic, watching you tire. Then, finally, they are done playing. The largest orca moves first, ramming into your ribs with full force. Another grabs onto your side. More follow, swarming, dragging you deeper. The surface fades, the ice vanishes, and the last thing you feel is the weight of the ocean pulling you into the abyss. The orcas leave. They do not eat. They do not need to. The game is over, and they have already moved on to find something else to play with. The herd moves forward. The Arctic continues, and somewhere far away, another calf takes its first breath, never knowing the fight that waits ahead. That was the walrus. Next is the beluga whale. You are forced into a blinding white labyrinth of shifting ice, constantly holding your breath and praying your only breathing hole isn't being guarded by a starving polar bear. You slip out of your mother and immediately get pushed upward from below, her head angled under your belly, guiding you to the surface before you even know what the surface is. Your blowhole breaks through first and air floods into your lungs, then you sink again. You stay close to your mother, not because you choose to, but because her body is the only solid thing you recognize. She moves slowly through the group, guiding you along the edge of the crowd. You hear those weird clicks around you, but they don't mean anything to you yet. Then something moves in front of you. It's another calf. It blocks your way just by drifting, but you don't slow down. You ram into it without thinking. Hard enough to get past, but not hard enough to mean anything. You don't understand the rules yet. You don't know that you've done something wrong. But the adult beside it does. She turns sharply and moves towards you. You don't react because you don't know how, but your mother sees. She intercepts just before impact, her body swinging in from the side with a thud that moves the water. She doesn't strike to injure the other female. She strikes just enough to be understood. Her jaws snap once, near the cheek, but not quite touching it, just like a warning. The other adult hesitates. She holds her position, but then backs away after a while. Your mother turns and swims on. You stay close to her side as the group begins to spread. Behind you, the calf you rammed doesn't follow. You don't see where it goes, and you don't look back. Skip forward a bit, and you're 2 weeks old now. You've started swimming further from your mother, circling wider and trusting that you'll find her again when you need to. But this time you go too far, and when you go back, the others aren't there. You circle once, then again, but they are gone, so you send out a click. It rises from deep inside your head and rolls into the water in short pulses, made to bounce off everything solid and come back carrying the shape of the world. Belugas use clicks to navigate, to speak, and to stay close when the ocean stops showing you where anything is. But when your sound returns, it brings nothing with it. Then something moves behind you. You don't see the shape, but you feel the weight of it. It's wide, slow, and it's following you. A moment later, it crosses in front of you with a flash of pale movement. It's a seal. You don't wait. You turn and swim as fast as you can, your tail beating hard and your body tipping downward as you push away from where it was. The clicks that you're sending are too fast and sent in every direction except the right one. But then, something answers. A wall of clicks breaks through the dark and you follow them just as your mother arrives. She dives straight through you and cuts off the seal's path. The seal is too slow to escape. She hits it from below with her jaws open, and the body folds on impact. The others return and help your mother fight off the attacker. They chase it off, and this time, you survive. But you don't forget the way it moved, or how slow you were. You start swimming closer after that, not because you want to, but because you have to. You're 3 months old now, and you've started to understand the rhythm of the pod. But this time, something interrupts the pattern. The water above you moves, and a net begins to fall. It doesn't drop fast. It drifts silently as it spreads slow enough that no one reacts at first. Then the adults begin to move, turning fast and breaking formation. You don't understand what's happening, so you keep going the way you were going, following the open space in front of you until something brushes your head. The net folds around your face, slips over your blowhole, and drags you backward. You try to use your flippers, but the net grabs those too. You twist, but the net moves with you. It tightens when you panic and loosens when you stop. You wiggle once and collide with another calf. You both struggle, caught in the same drifting trap, and neither of you can get loose. Then the water vibrates. Your mother hits from the side, her teeth pulling at the net until it splits. Another adult swims upward, bending the net just wide enough to tear a gap through the middle. You push forward, causing deep cuts across your skin as you force your way out. You follow the current, pushing through the clouded water until the group returns to view. But the other calf never comes back. It gets taken away and lifted onto a boat. It's transported somewhere far away, and it never sees the open ocean again. The humans lower it into a tank with just enough space to keep moving, but never enough to go anywhere. It circles the same path every day, not because it wants to, but because that's all there is. There are no other whales, just glass and people watching from the outside, pointing like they understand what they're looking at. You're 2 years old now, and you've started hunting with the group. You don't chase fish alone, and you don't make decisions. You stay on the edge, matching the others as they guide the fish towards more shallow water. This time, the fish move into a bay, and you follow the group like you always do. But just before you reach the opening, something changes. There's another group already there. They're waiting just ahead, not attacking, but they don't move aside either. Your group keeps going. The fish are between both groups now, and there isn't much space left. The others hold their positions, just long enough to see if anyone will turn. Then they don't, and the groups collide. You feel one body slide past your side, then another angles in from the right and slams into your ribs hard enough to knock you off balance. You turn and strike back, not aiming to injure, just to push him away. But he spins faster than you expect and catches your side with his teeth. You turn again, but the fish are already gone. You try to find someone to follow, but the shapes are too far apart now. Everyone's moving in different directions, and no one waits for anyone. You keep circling, and you click once, but no one answers. At 5 years old, you're old enough to leave your mother's group. The females don't stop you. They just keep moving without you, and you don't follow them either. You find the males soon after, and they don't seem too happy with you following them. You keep your distance, matching their speed and trying not to stand out, but they act like you're not even there. You swim too close once, and one of them drives his head into your side, just enough to make it clear that you haven't earned your place yet. You decide to stay anyway. During the next hunt, you help by turning the fish when they scatter and staying where the gaps are. No one says anything, and no one pushes you away either. So you follow from a distance and wait for something to change, and then it does. You're trailing behind the group when you spot movement far off to the side. It's quick flashes, not scattered like fish, but straight-lined and coordinated. You move toward it slightly. The shapes are sharper now, and you count 5 of them. It's the killer whale mafia. They're fanned out in a wide line, gliding just beneath the surface. Their tails don't move much, but the water behind them churns harder with every second. One tilts toward the center, and the others follow. It's not a chase yet, but it's about to be. You shift left, then dive down, trying to get their line of sight. One of them sees you and speeds up. They're not attacking yet, just tracking, like they're waiting for the right moment to close in. The males don't see them. They haven't changed direction. You turn and accelerate, pushing through the current until you're close enough, and then you start clicking. The group reacts instantly and the formation breaks. They dive hard and split in 2 directions. The killer whales turn, trying to follow, but they're too far behind now. You stay with the group, just behind the center, watching as the spacing evens out. When the group begins to move again, they don't force you back, and when you move closer, they let you. You're 15 years old now, and you've started tracking females, not with sound, but with movement. You follow one through a tight channel. She doesn't look back, but she doesn't pull away either. Her path curves slightly, drawing you in, so you follow. Then another male drops in from above. His shadow passes over your back before you see him. Another rises from below, moving in from the opposite side. You speed up and move across the upper male. You hit his side with your melon first, then open your jaws and bite down. He swims away instantly, thrashing once before backing off. You don't follow. You pivot toward the second. He closes in fast. You collide head-on. His skull strikes your side and knocks you off balance. He turns to swing his tail, but you catch the motion and drive forward again, ramming just behind his flipper. He spins from the impact, but twists back with force. His teeth glance off your side, scraping across your skin, but not catching it. You strike again. This time your jaws lock around his lower side. You twist and drive downward, dragging him out of position. Then he breaks off. He drops below the current and disappears into the dark. The path towards the female is open again. You catch up just as she slows down. She just lets you close the distance, so you follow. You match her pace, and when she drifts left, you stay beside her. You mate quickly, and then you leave. You're 30 years old now, and you've broken away from the others for a while. You're moving alone through deeper water, not searching for anything, just following the current in the same direction it's always gone. That's when you see the shape ahead. It's distant at first, then clearer as it rises into view. It turns slightly as you approach, like it's already aware of you. You drift closer. The shape looks familiar. The way it turns feels like the way some females move when they're waiting to see if you'll follow. So you do. Then the body moves, and the tusk comes into view. He doesn't react, he just slows down a little, and then without changing position, he begins to move toward you. You shift your body slightly, lower your head, and prepare to meet the strike. But when he reaches you, there's no collision. Instead, the tip of the tusk touches the side of your side. Not with force, but with pressure. A slow drag from mid-body to your tail. He circles behind you and does it again, this time along your back. The motion is smooth, almost lazy, and when he passes your eye, he doesn't look toward you. He just keeps moving, slow and straight. You don't respond, and you don't challenge him. You hold your place in the water for a while, then start to swim towards where your group should be. But he follows. The clicks from your pod reach you again, and you close in on the group and slow as you rejoin the edge. The others adjust, making space for you. Then the narwhal arrives. He crosses directly into the pod, swimming alongside the outer side. Not pushing, just placing himself where there's room. No one moves to block him and no one reacts. He just stays there, quiet and steady, swimming with you like he's part of the group now. You're 45 years old now. You don't lead hunts anymore and you don't take the front of the group unless no one else steps forward. But when you move, the others move with you. But then he arrives. It's another beluga. You notice him first, always at the edge of the group, not close enough to be challenged and not far enough to be ignored. When he clicks, the sound is low and spaced out. He's not testing you, he's waiting. But you don't answer and the others don't either. No one acknowledges him, yet he still follows for days. He moves when you move, feeds when you feed, and rests when you rest. Then the hunt begins. You drive a school of fish into shallow water. You hold position near the center, and before you can adjust, the young male cuts in from the far side, pressing the line inward. It works. The fish scatter, and the group feeds. You watch him, but he doesn't stay. He drifts to the back again. You push him away next time he comes close. So do two others, but he doesn't react. The next time he moves inward, you block him again. You swing across his path just enough to signal that he's not part of this group. The same way you've done to dozens of others over the years. The same way that always works. But this time, he doesn't back off. He lunges. His head slams into your side first, angled high and fast enough to break your rhythm mid-stroke. Before your body recovers, his jaws are already open, and they close over the top of your head. Your melon splits before you process the pressure. The sound disappears instantly, not replaced by pain, just the absence of everything. The water keeps moving, but you don't. He lets go. Your body drifts sideways, and your jaw tilts with it. No one moves to catch you. No one signals anything, and when he swims forward, no one blocks him. That was the beluga whale. Next is the snow leopard. You are born blind on the edge of a freezing, jagged cliff, where one wrong step means plunging to your death in a barren mountain range that offers 0 second chances. You slide out of your mother onto the ground, somewhere high in the mountains of Central Asia. A few minutes pass, and your mother gives birth to your sister. But just 2 days later, she dies. Your mother eats her body to keep herself fed without having to leave you. You don't even notice, though. That's because you're blind. A week later, your eyes finally open, and the first thing you see is your mother leaving the den, then returning with something small hanging from her jaws. It's a fresh kill, but you can't walk yet, so all you do is watch. Skip forward to when you're 2 months old. Your legs are finally strong enough to follow your mom outside. She walks slowly, checking the slopes before letting you leave the den. You sink into the snow with each step, but she stays close, ready to grab you if you fall. Then you spot something moving ahead, a squirrel. You crouch and start walking toward it, copying what you've seen her do. The squirrel doesn't notice you, so you take another step, ready to run. But your mother appears beside you and blocks your path. She grabs you by the scruff, carries you back to the den, and drops you near the wall. You don't fight it. You lie still and stare at the snow outside the entrance. You know that soon you'll have to do more than follow her. Skip forward and you're 3 months old now. You follow your mother through the snow, watching how she hunts and gets food. She moves quietly across the ridge until she spots a herd of blue sheep in the distance. They're feeding close to the cliffs, scraping through the snow to reach dry grass. Your mother crouches low and starts moving toward them, with her steps careful and slow. But you stay where you are. You know that if you follow too close, you'll ruin her hunt. So you press your body to the ground and wait. She gets closer and closer. The blue sheep still haven't noticed her. Then she bursts forward. The herd runs with their hooves hitting the rocks, but one stumbles. Your mother leaps and lands on it, her jaws locking around its throat. She kills it quickly by cutting off oxygen. You walk toward her as she drags the body to the side of a tree. She rips open the neck and begins to feed. You watch carefully, studying every movement she makes. She doesn't waste a bite, and when she's done, she steps back and lets you eat what's left. The meat is cold and heavy in your mouth, but it's your first taste of real food, and soon you're going to have to learn how to get it on your own. You're 1 year old now. You and your mother stalk a mountain goat that's feeding near a cliff. You stay low, moving quietly through the snow, and the goat keeps its head down, unaware of you. Your mother looks at you, then walks around to the other side. She's trying to cut off its escape, You crouch lower and wait for her to get into position. When she's ready, she gives a quiet growl. That's your sign to go. You step out and move toward the goat, forcing it to run straight in her direction. The moment it starts running, your mother bursts forward. She jumps from behind a tree and lands square on its back. The force sends both of them rolling down a few meters. When they stop, she bites into its neck and holds until it goes still. The hunt is over. You walk closer as she drags the carcass into cover. You start tearing into the meat while she watches the slope around you. A few seconds later, you hear something in the distance. It's a deep and steady growl that doesn't belong to either of you. You look up and see a wolf standing in the distance. This is bad news because wolves never travel alone, so there must be more of them coming. And then you see them. More shapes emerging from behind the first one. 5 in total, moving down slowly, surrounding the both of you. Your mother growls but doesn't attack. She knows fighting 5 wolves means death. The food isn't worth it. She nudges you to back off, but one wolf snaps at you, so she charges with claws hitting the snow, forcing it back. Then another moves closer, so she pulls away again before they surround her. She pushes through the space between 2 of them, and you follow fast. The wolves bark but don't chase. You walk until their howls fade behind you. The meal is gone, but you survived. Against a pack of 5, that's the only victory that matters. Skip forward, and you're 1 year and 6 months old now. Your mother has changed. She's in heat again and no longer treats you like her cub. When she catches something small, she eats it alone and growls if you try to get close. You understand what that means. She's ready to raise new cubs, and you're now competition, not family. So you leave. You walk across ridges for days, following the wind through empty valleys. The snow gets thinner the farther you go. You stop at streams to drink and sleep under rocks at night, always moving and searching for a place without another snow leopard's scent. Finally, you find an open stretch of cliffs. You walk the perimeter, rubbing your face on the rocks, hoping it can be yours. But then you spot movement ahead. A big male steps out from behind a boulder. His shoulders are twice your size and his head wide and scarred. As soon as he sees you, he starts walking forward. You freeze, not sure whether to stand your ground or run. But after taking a second look at him, you realize how outmatched you are. His scent alone is enough to tell you this land already belongs to him. You turn and start running. The sound of his paws hits behind you, but he doesn't chase far. By the time you stop, the mountains are silent again. You're alone. But hunger drives you to hunt. You haven't eaten in days, so you look for something small, anything that won't waste too much energy if it escapes. You find a marmot near a rocky slope, digging in the dirt. You crouch and creep closer, but it turns and spots you. You think you've failed, but instead of running, it collapses onto its back and freezes. You blink, confused, then move in and bite its neck. It doesn't fight. You eat until your stomach doesn't feel like it's going to eat itself. It's not much, but it keeps you moving, and now, your journey starts again. You're 3 years old now. You found your territory a long time ago and settled into it. The cliffs, trees, and valleys all smell like you. But food has been harder to get lately. Every time you go after big prey, something goes wrong. Marmots run away before you can even get close, and mountain goats vanish over rocks you can't reach. For weeks, you've failed every hunt, but today is different. You spot a blue sheep grazing near a slope. It's far from its herd, and the snow muffles your steps. You creep closer, each paw sinking in silence. When it finally raises its head, you're already too close. You launch forward and slam into it, with your claws cutting deep. The animal falls hard and you clamp your jaws around its neck until it stops moving. You finally have a kill. You start tearing into its body, ripping through thick fur and meat. Then the ground starts shaking. You look up and see a brown bear climbing down the slope toward you. It's massive, much larger and heavier than you. You know you can't win this fight, so you step back and run, leaving the kill behind. But you don't go far. You stop behind the trees and watch. The bear grabs your kill in its jaws and walks away. You follow from a distance, staying quiet. After a while, the bear reaches a patch of forest and drops the carcass. Then it lies down on its back, resting. You crouch low, thinking about how to take your food back. Then another thought hits you. What if you killed the bear while it slept? So you walk closer until you're almost beside it. Then, you bite hard into its neck. The bear roars and rears up, but its strength fades fast. It collapses backward and goes still. You stand over the body breathing heavily, and realize what you just did. You killed a brown bear. Your first real victory. But the mountains never let you win for long. Something else will come. Skip forward again, and you're 4 years old now. One morning, a new smell rides the wind. It's sharp and fresh. It's another male. He's been marking the same rocks you use. You know what that means. A challenge. You start moving along the ridge, following the scent trail until you see him. He's standing on a narrow ledge across the valley. His coat is darker, and he looks heavier and older. But you've grown since last winter. You crouch low and begin moving along the edge. He spots you and starts walking too. The space between you shrinks, filled only by low growls that echo against the cliffs. You both know what's coming. He lunges first. You charge to meet him with your claws scraping against stone. The impact knocks both of you sideways. You bite into his shoulder, teeth grinding through fur and muscle. You slip once, but keep your footing while he slides a few steps down the slope. You're both breathing hard now. Blood runs down your side, but you keep standing. This is your territory, and you won't give it up. So you walk toward him again, slow but steady. He growls and lifts his paw, but he doesn't move forward. He knows that if you attack again, he'll die. You stare at him for a moment. He breaks eye contact, lowers his head, and starts backing away. You stay still, watching as he turns around and limps off through the snow until he disappears behind the rocks. Then you walk back to your scrape site and spray the rock. Your ribs hurt, but you won. You didn't need to kill him. You only had to make him understand what happens if he stays. You're 5 years old now. Winter has covered the mountains in deep snow, and every step sinks you to the ankles. As you walk along a narrow path, you spot a mark in the snow ahead. You walk closer and smell it. It's from a female. Her scent is fresh, so she must be close. You start tracking it, following one mark after another along the mountain slope. You find her paw prints in the snow and follow them higher. Sometimes the trail fades, but the scent always returns. 2 days later, you finally see her. She's smaller than you, and her coat is darker around the neck. She stares for a moment, then lowers her head. She doesn't run. You approach carefully, and she stays still. For a week, you move together through the mountains. You hunt at night, rest during the day, and mate whenever she calls. The wind still cuts through the rocks, but the cold doesn't feel as sharp now. One night you kill a blue sheep and drag the body close to her den. She eats first while you stand nearby, watching the snow drift past. When she's done, you eat too. The meat is frozen and tough, but for once, it feels worth the effort. Then, as the days pass, her scent starts to fade. She climbs higher each morning, and you follow until you can't anymore. She doesn't look back. Her tracks stretch up the slope until the wind erases them. You stay still for a while, staring at where she disappeared. Then you walk back to the same spot where you first found her. The mountain is silent again, but you don't dwell on it for long. There will be more females when next winter comes, and you'll be stronger then. You're 8 years old now. One day you smell something that isn't yours. It's fresh urine on a rock. You think it's another female, so you follow the trail up a narrow path. But what you find isn't a female. It's a male standing on the edge of a cliff. You lower your head and walk forward, but he hears you and turns around. He's younger and stronger. He looks straight at you and starts walking closer. You stay still, trying to look confident, but he doesn't stop. He growls once and then rushes forward. You push back, both of you locking together and rolling in the snow. The cliff is only a few steps away. You try to twist and bite, but he hits harder. You lose your footing, sliding backward as the edge crumbles under your weight. You grab at the ground with your claws, trying to pull yourself up, but he slams his shoulder into your chest. You slip and fall. You crash into the rocks below. The impact knocks the air from your lungs and your body goes still. The young male looks down from above. He steps closer to the edge and starts peeing. The urine falls and lands on your body. He marks the mountain as his own, then turns and walks away. That was the snow leopard. Next is the polar bear. You enter the world the size of a rat, completely blind and hairless in a frozen snow cave, knowing that when you emerge, adult males of your own species will happily hunt you down for a quick snack. You slide out of your mother into complete darkness, somewhere in the Arctic. Your legs don't work yet, so you crawl forward using your front paws until you find warmth. Then you press against your mother's belly and feed on thick milk for the first time. Your brother slides out behind you and does the same, pushing against your side to find space. The den is small, and you both stay close to your mother's body. She shifts every few hours but never leaves. You feed whenever you wake and sleep when your stomach is full. Your brother is smaller than you and slower to reach the milk, so you shove him back with your paw each time he tries to move ahead of you. Skip forward 8 weeks, and your eyes finally open. The walls around you are packed snow and ice, smooth where your mother's body has pressed against them. You can stand now and walk a few steps before your legs give out. Your brother tries to stand but falls sideways and stays down longer than before. One morning, your mother rolls onto her side to shift position. Your brother is lying against the wall where she was just resting, and she presses him there without noticing. He makes a soft noise and tries to push back, but she's too heavy. You watch him stop moving after she finally rolls away from the wall. Then you crawl over his body to reach the milk and feed alone. A few days later, your mother starts scraping at the den entrance with her front paws. Snow falls away in chunks, and light comes through the gaps she creates. She digs faster and breaks through completely. Bright white light floods the den, and you step back. But she moves toward the opening and pushes her head outside. Outside, the ice is waiting. And so is everything that wants to kill you. You're 3 months old now. Your mother pushes through the entrance and walks out onto the ice, so you follow behind her on legs that still don't hold your weight properly. Your paws slide in different directions and you crash forward onto your chest, then scramble back up and try again. She keeps walking without looking back, so you have to keep moving to stay close. The ice stretches out in every direction with no end in sight. You take another step and both back legs slip sideways at once, dropping you flat on your stomach. You push yourself up and keep going because your mother is already far ahead. Then something dark moves across the white surface in the distance. You want to see what it is, so you break into a run toward it. Your legs tangle and you trip forward, rolling twice before sliding to a stop. The dark shape moves faster now, and you realize it's an Arctic fox. You get up and chase after it, but your paws keep slipping and the fox runs without any trouble at all, disappearing behind a ridge of ice. Your mother reaches you and keeps walking past like nothing happened. You follow her to a smooth spot on the ice where a small round hole breaks through to the water below. She stops at the edge and stands completely still with her head lowered toward the opening. You sit beside her and wait because there's nothing else to do. She doesn't move for a long time. You shift your weight and the ice creaks under your paw, making a sharp sound that echoes across the surface. Then she turns her head toward you and walks away from the hole without catching anything. You don't know what she's hunting yet, but you're about to learn what lives beneath your feet. Skip forward a bit, and you're 8 months old now. You follow your mother across the ice to another breathing hole, and she stops at the edge, standing completely still with her eyes fixed on the dark water below. You want to copy what she does, so you lower your head and watch the hole the same way she does. Time drags on and your legs start to ache from standing in one position. You try to hold still like your mother, but your body won't cooperate, so you shift your weight from one paw to the other. The ice under your foot makes a loud creaking sound that spreads across the surface. Then the water moves and a dark shape rises toward the hole. It's a ringed seal pushing up to breathe. Your mother lunges forward, but the seal hears the movement and drops back down before she can reach it. She turns toward you and swings her paw hard across your face. Your head snaps to the side and you taste blood in your mouth from where your teeth cut into your cheek. She walks away from the hole and you follow behind, learning that staying quiet matters more than anything else. A few days later, your mother brings you to a different hole and takes her position at the edge. You stand beside her and don't move at all this time, keeping your body locked in place even when your muscles start to shake. The seal comes up after a long wait, and your mother strikes fast, clamping her jaws around its body before it can escape. She drags it onto the ice and tears through its skin with her teeth, pulling out chunks of dark red meat and pale fat. She eats first, and you wait until she moves aside. Then you bite into the seal and taste something completely different from milk. The blubber is thick and fills your stomach in a way nothing else ever has. This is how you'll survive from now on, if you can learn to wait. You're 2 years old now. Your mother has been walking away from you more often over the past few weeks, staying gone for longer stretches each time. Then one morning she gets up and just leaves, walking across the ice without stopping or looking back at you. You need to stay with her because you don't know how to survive alone yet, so you follow her trail across the frozen surface. You call out to her, but she doesn't turn around or slow down, just keeps moving forward like you're not even there. Her tracks lead you over ridges and around open water for hours until the wind picks up and covers them with blown snow. You try to find where she went, but the trail disappears completely and you're standing alone on the ice for the first time in your life. Your stomach is empty and you need to find food, so you start walking in search of breathing holes. After a full day of searching, you find something dark on the ice ahead. It's the remains of a seal that's already been picked clean by Arctic foxes, just bones and frozen scraps left behind. You chew on what's there, but it barely fills your stomach at all. 2 weeks pass and you still haven't made a successful kill. You find a breathing hole and remember what your mother taught you, so you stand at the edge and wait without moving. Your legs ache and your body starts to shake, but you hold your position. Then a seal surfaces, and you lunge forward, but your timing is off and your jaws snap shut on empty air. The seal drops back under the ice and doesn't come back up. In the distance, another young bear walks across the ice alone. You watch it move in the same direction you're heading, probably searching for food just like you are. You'll cross paths with others like you. But out here, that doesn't mean you're friends. You're 3 years old now. You haven't eaten anything in 2 weeks, and your ribs are starting to show through your fur. So you need to find food soon, or you won't survive much longer. You spot a breathing hole in the ice and remember everything your mother taught you about waiting. So you take your position at the edge and stay completely still. Hours drag by and your legs ache from holding the same position, but you don't move at all. Then the water shifts and a seal pushes up toward the surface to breathe. You strike the moment you see it, but your timing is wrong and you jump too early. Your jaws close on water and the seal vanishes back under the ice before you can try again. You need another way to eat, so you walk along the ice looking for anything that might work. Then you spot a walrus lying on the surface far from the water. You're desperate enough to try, so you move toward it slowly with your body low to the ground. But the walrus lifts its head and sees you coming from a long distance away. It charges straight at you with its massive tusks swinging toward your face. You turn and run in the opposite direction as fast as you can, and the walrus stops chasing after a few seconds and goes back to where it was resting. You walk away with nothing in your stomach and your body getting weaker every day. You try breaking through the ice with your claws to reach the water below, thinking you might be able to grab a seal that way. But the ice is too thick, and your paws just scrape across the surface, leaving your claws bloody and worn down. You stop trying after a while and lie down on the ice to rest. The ice is melting earlier each year, and if you don't eat soon, you won't make it to summer. Skip forward and you're 5 years old now. You weigh over 400 kilos, and you've survived 3 winters on your own, learning how to hunt well enough to stay alive. You spot a ringed seal sleeping on the ice far from its breathing hole, so you drop low and start moving toward it using every ridge and crack in the surface as cover. The seal lifts its head to look around, so you freeze in place and don't move at all until it puts its head back down. Then you crawl forward again, staying flat against the ice and moving slowly enough that the seal doesn't notice you getting closer. After 45 minutes of crawling, you're finally within striking distance. You need to move fast before it sees you, so you explode forward with all your strength. The seal hears you coming and tries to run toward its breathing hole, but you're faster and your jaws close around its back before it can reach the water. It thrashes hard and tries to pull free, but you pin it down with your full weight pressing against its body. Then you bite through its spine and it stops moving completely. You drag it away from the hole so nothing can steal it from below and start tearing into the blubber. You feed for hours, eating as much as you can hold because you don't know when your next meal will come. Your stomach is finally full and you lie down next to what's left of the seal to rest. You've learned everything your mother taught you about waiting and striking at the right moment. But the ice keeps melting earlier each year and the seals are spreading out farther from each other, making them harder to find. You'll need to cover more ground and wait longer between kills just to survive. You're 12 years old now. You're standing over a fresh seal kill when another male bear walks across the ice toward you. He's bigger than you are with scars running across his face and shoulders from old fights. You need to protect your food, so you lower your head and show him you're not giving it up without a fight. But he doesn't stop or turn away, just keeps walking straight at you like you're not even there. You can't let him take what's yours, so you charge first and slam into his shoulder with your full weight behind the hit. The impact knocks both of you sideways, but you recover faster and he's already coming back at you. You both rear up on your back legs and start grappling with your front paws, pushing against each other. His jaws close around your neck and shake hard, making your vision blur for a second. You twist your body and break free, then bite down on his front leg and he roars. The sound is loud enough to make you flinch, but you don't let go. The fight keeps going with both of you rolling across the ice and biting whatever you can reach. His claws rake across your side and open up long cuts that start bleeding right away. You bite his shoulder, and he swings his head into yours, stunning you for a moment. Then you catch his ear with your teeth and tear, ripping part of it off. After a few more minutes of fighting, he finally backs away and starts limping in the other direction. You've kept the seal, but you're bleeding from multiple wounds and can barely stand up straight. You lie down next to what's left of your kill and try to catch your breath, but you're too hurt to eat much of it. You've won this time, but your body doesn't heal like it used to. You're 18 years old now. Your joints don't move the way they used to, and your teeth are worn down from years of crushing bones and tearing through seal skin. The ice breaks up earlier every season, and the gaps between solid sections keep getting wider, making it harder to find seals hauled out where you can reach them. You haven't eaten anything in 3 weeks, and you're getting weaker every day. Then you spot a seal resting on a chunk of ice across open water. You need this kill, or you won't survive much longer. So you study the distance and try to figure out if you can make the swim. The gap looks wide, but you don't have another choice, so you slide into the water and start swimming toward the seal with strong strokes pushing you forward. Halfway across, your back legs start cramping and your pace slows down. You keep pushing, but your muscles aren't responding the way they should. The seal sees you coming and drops into the water before you can get close. You try to turn around and swim back to where you started, but the current is pulling you in a different direction and you can't fight against it anymore. Your legs stop working completely and your head dips below the surface. You pull your head back up and take one more breath, then it goes under again, and you can't bring it back up this time. The water fills your mouth and pours into your lungs, making your body go still. You sink below the surface and keep dropping through the water until you disappear completely. That was the polar bear. Next is the narwhal. You are born into a freezing, claustrophobic maze of solid sea ice where making one wrong turn means suffocating in the pitch-black freezing depths. You slip out of your mother, somewhere in the Arctic Ocean. The moment you're free, she pushes you upward with her head, and you break through the surface for the first time. You open your blowhole and pull in air, and the cold hits your body all at once. Your mother stays close beside you with her body blocking the current while you take another breath, and then another, until your lungs stop burning. Around you, 10 other narwhals float in a loose group, all of them watching as you try to swim. Your tail moves side to side, but you're slow and your movements are clumsy. The pod starts moving forward, so you follow, kicking hard to stay near your mother's side. Then something large appears at the surface ahead. A polar bear swims along the edge of the ice with its head above water and its front legs pulling it forward. The pod drops under all at once, diving deep into the dark, and you go with them. But your lungs are still small and you can't hold your breath as long, so after a few seconds, your chest starts to tighten. You stop kicking and start to drift, but then your mother turns back and pushes you toward the surface again. You break through and gulp down air while the rest of the pod waits below. Your mother returns to you and rolls slightly to one side. You know what to do without being taught, so you press close to her belly and find the slit where milk comes out. You drink while floating beside her, and the liquid is thick and fills your stomach quickly. The pod starts moving again, and you stay tucked against your mother's side. You're learning fast that the surface is where you breathe, but it's also where the danger waits. You're 3 weeks old now, and the pod is getting ready to dive. The adults start going under one by one, dropping down into the deep water where the fish hide, and you want to follow. So you take a breath and push yourself down after your mother, kicking hard to keep up with her tail. But the deeper you go, the more your head starts to hurt. The pressure builds around your skull and pushes against your ears, making everything feel tight and wrong. You try to keep going, but after a few more seconds, you can't take it anymore, so you turn around and swim back up to the surface. You break through and breathe while the rest of the pod keeps going down without you. Now you're alone at the top with nothing around you except open water. You float there for a while, turning in slow circles and waiting for someone to come back. Then you try again, diving down just far enough that your head doesn't hurt, and after a few seconds you come back up. You do this over and over, each time going a little deeper and holding your breath a little longer. After a while, your mother comes back up with a small fish in her mouth. She swims toward you and drops it, and the fish tries to swim away, but you chase after it and bite down on its body. Your teeth don't go all the way through at first, so you bite again, and this time it works. That's your first real meal. Then you hear something in the distance. It's a sound that moves through the water in sharp bursts, and the whole pod goes completely still. You stop moving too and stay frozen next to your mother while the sound gets a little closer, then stops, then fades away. You're getting stronger every day, and soon you'll be able to follow the pod all the way down to the bottom, where the real food is. Skip forward a bit, and you're 4 months old now. The surface above you is starting to freeze over, and every day there's less open water to breathe from. The pod moves slowly through the ocean, searching for gaps in the ice, and you follow close behind your mother with your tail pushing hard to keep up. Then you reach a spot where there's only one small hole left. The entire pod gathers around it, and everyone takes turns going up to breathe. You wait your turn, watching the adults push their heads through the opening one at a time, but then a large male swims in front of you and blocks your way. He goes up and takes his breath, and by the time he's done, another adult has already moved into position. You need air badly, so you try to push forward, but there are too many bodies in the way. Your lungs start to burn and your vision begins to blur, so you swim in circles under the ice, trying to find the hole again. But everything looks the same and you can't tell where the opening is anymore. Then your mother appears beside you and pushes through the group, making space for you to follow. You shoot upward and break through the surface, pulling in as much air as you can before someone else takes your spot. After a while, the pod moves on and you follow them under a long sheet of ice. Some of the adults swim upside down and scrape their backs against the frozen surface above, and you copy them, rubbing your own back on the ice as you glide underneath it. You're 1 year old now, and the pod is diving deeper than you've ever gone before. You take a breath at the surface and follow them down, kicking your tail as fast as you can to stay close. The water around you gets darker with every second, and after a few minutes, you can't see anything at all anymore. But you can still hear the clicks coming from the adults ahead, so you make your own clicking sounds and listen to the echoes that bounce back, showing you where everyone is. Then the clicks start changing, bouncing off something large and flat below you. The pod slows down and spreads out, so you do the same, sending out more clicks to figure out what's down there. It's a fish, a huge one lying on the ocean floor, and you watch as one of the adults swims down and swings his tusk at it. The tusk hits the fish's body hard, making it go still for a moment, and then the adult grabs it with his mouth and starts eating. You want to try the same thing, so you swim down toward another fish and swing your tusk at it just like you saw. But your tusk is still too small and the hit is too weak, so the fish just moves away slowly without being stunned at all. You try again, swinging harder this time, but the result is the same. Then another adult comes down and hits the same fish properly, stunning it in one strike, and you quickly swim in and grab it before anyone else can. The meat fills your mouth, and you tear off a piece, swallowing it whole. As you're eating, you notice other shapes moving nearby. They're belugas, white whales that make different sounds than your pod does, and they're hunting in the same area. Both groups keep their distance and keep feeding without coming too close to each other. Skip forward, and you're 4 years old now. Your tusk has grown to over 3 feet long, and you're swimming alongside 2 other young males who have tusks about the same size as yours. You watch as they move closer to each other and touch their tusks together, rubbing them gently and making soft clicking sounds while they do it. You want to join in, so you swim toward the one of them and angle your tusk until it meets his. The 2 of you slide your tusks back and forth against each other, and it feels strange but not painful. Then he pushes a little harder, so you push back, and suddenly both of you are pressing with all your strength. Then you hear a cracking sound. You pull away quickly and run your flipper along your tusk, and when you do, you can feel a small split running down one side. Your tusk is filled with nerves that run all the way through it, so even a small crack like this sends pain through your entire head. You back away from the other male and swim off to the side of the group. After a while, you look around at the older males in the pod, and you notice that almost all of them have broken or cracked tusks, but they're all still hunting and eating without any problems. The crack will heal over time, but It's a reminder that your tusk is both your best tool and your biggest weakness. You're 9 years old now, and your tusk has reached 7 feet long, with a spiral pattern running down its length and scars marking where old cracks have healed. You're swimming with a group of males when you spot a pod of females passing nearby with several calves following close behind them. The males around you notice too, so all of you start moving in the same direction at once. 3 other males reach the female pod first, and you follow right behind them. You need to show that you're strong and mature enough to mate, so you lift your tusk straight up out of the water and wave it back and forth in the air. Then you pick one female and start swimming after her. She moves away from you quickly, so you speed up and stay right behind her, following every turn she makes. The chase goes on for several minutes until finally she starts to slow down, and when she does, you move up beside her and press your body against hers. The mating happens fast, and then it's over. She pulls away and swims back toward the other females with the calves. You won't see her again after this, and there's no way to know if she'll have your calf or not. You're 15 years old now, and the pod is spread out across a wide area of ocean, hunting for fish near the bottom. You're on your own about 100 feet away from the nearest narwhal, sending out clicks and listening for echoes that tell you where the halibut are hiding. Then you hear something different, a series of sharp calls moving through the water that don't belong to your pod. You stop clicking and go completely still, and a few seconds later, you see them. 5 orcas swimming together in a tight group, and they're moving fast with their eyes scanning the water for targets. So you turn and kick your tail as hard as you can, but one of them breaks away from the group and comes straight toward you. You change direction and head toward the pack ice in the distance, racing toward the frozen area where the orcas are too big to fit through the narrow gaps. The orca gets closer and you can see its mouth opening, so you kick harder and twist to the side just as it lunges. Its teeth catch your tail fluke and tear through the flesh, ripping a large chunk away and sending blood into the water. Eventually, you come out and find other members of your pod who also escaped, and you all swim together slowly while your wound starts to close. The next time you hear orca calls, you'll know exactly how fast you need to move to survive. You're 25 years old now, and the ice is forming faster than it usually does. The pod has been following the open water as it shrinks, looking for a path that leads out to the deeper ocean. But every direction you swim ends in solid ice. You need air, so you swim to the surface and push your head through the opening, taking a breath before another narwhal bumps you aside. You go back down and wait, then come up again a few minutes later and fight your way through the bodies to get another breath. This goes on for hours, then days, and the whole time the ice keeps closing in. You try to find a way out by swimming under the frozen surface in every direction, sending out clicks and listening for echoes that might show an opening. But every time, the clicks bounce back from solid ice with no gaps anywhere. So you return to the breathing hole and push your way to the surface again, but there are too many narwhals trying to breathe at the same time, and you miss your turn. Your lungs start to burn and you try to push through the group again, but your body is too tired from days without rest. You kick your tail trying to reach the surface, but the movement is weak, and you start sinking instead. The other narwhals keep fighting above you. Your body goes still and your eyes close. Above you, the other narwhals are still struggling at the breathing hole, taking turns gasping for air through the shrinking gap. Your body drifts down through the water with your tusk pointing up toward the ice that sealed you in, and by the time spring comes and the ice breaks apart, you'll be resting on the ocean floor where the halibut swim. That was the narwhal. Next is the orca. You are shoved out into sub-zero waters without enough blubber to survive, forced to swim non-stop alongside your pod from the second you are born just to keep your heart from stopping. You slide out of your mother into cold water somewhere in the North Pacific. She pushes you upward with her rostrum, driving you toward the surface. You don't know how to swim yet, so your tail flaps weakly while your body rolls sideways. She pushes harder, keeping you moving until light breaks above. Your blowhole opens above the waterline for the first time, but you don't exhale first. Water floods in and burns through your airways, choking you. You sink back down, your body going still. Your mother swims beneath and lifts you again, this time faster. She breaks the surface with you on top of her back. You cough once, then twice, forcing the water out. Then you inhale, and air fills your lungs. 2 other adults appear on either side, flanking you and your mother as you swim. They're your aunts, and they're blocking you from drifting too far from the group. You try to push forward on your own, but your tail barely moves water. One aunt nudges you back toward your mother's side. Then something passes below in the murky water. Your mother dives suddenly, leaving you at the surface. You hear a dull thud, then she rises again with blood clouding around her mouth. A gray shape retreats into the deep. It was a shark, and she rammed it hard enough to send it running. You press against her side, exhausted from just staying afloat. You're 6 months old now. Your tail works properly, pushing you through the water with enough strength to keep pace with the adults as they patrol deeper areas. The pod moves toward a thick school of salmon swimming near the rocky coast. The adults spread out in a wide circle, trapping the fish between them. You watch your mother dive beneath the school and drive upward, pushing salmon toward the others waiting above. An aunt snaps one out of the water, kills it with a shake, then brings it to you. It's already dead, so you tear into the soft belly and swallow chunks whole. Then you spot another salmon at the edge of the group and chase it on your own. It darts left suddenly, but you turn too slowly and it escapes into darker water. Later, the pod swims toward a sheet of ice floating on the surface. A seal rests on top with its head down. The adults begin swimming in tight circles around the ice, making waves that rocket side to side. You don't understand what they're doing until 3 of them line up and swim straight at the ice together. The wave they create crashes over the seal and washes it into the water. Your mother kills it in seconds, biting down on its neck before it can swim away. Skip forward a bit, and you're 2 years old now. During a hunt, you chase a salmon further from the pod than usual, following it into shallow water near a rocky shore. The fish escapes into a kelp forest, so you slow down and scan the bottom for anything else worth eating. That's when you spot a stingray buried in the sand with only its eyes showing above the surface. It's smaller than you, so you swim straight at it trying to grab it quickly. But the ray explodes upward from the sand with its barbed tail whipping toward your face. You jerk your head back just in time, so the barb cuts through the water where you were a second ago. You circle around and try again, this time coming at it from the front where the tail can't reach you. You bite down on its wing, but the flesh is tougher than salmon and it tears free before you can get a grip. The ray drops back to the sand and tries to bury itself again. Then you remember watching the adults flip sharks onto their backs to stun them before killing them. So you dive beneath the ray and ram upward with your rostrum, sending it tumbling through the water. While it's spinning and trying to right itself, you bite again, this time clamping down hard enough to crush through the cartilage. It stops moving after a few seconds. You drag it to the surface and tear into the flesh. It's chewy and tastes nothing like salmon, but it's yours. A few minutes later, your mother appears with 2 aunts. They circle you once, looking at the half-eaten ray, then continue swimming without stopping. They saw what you did, but solo kills are just survival. The pod hunts bigger prey, and soon, you'll need to join them when they do. You're 4 years old now. The pod tracks a gray whale calf and its mother moving through open water during their migration north. The adults spread out wide, so you follow their movements and position yourself near the calf's tail like your aunt showed you earlier. The gray whale turns her body between the pod and her calf, then swings her massive tail through the water to keep everyone back. 3 adults dive beneath her and bite into her flippers and belly, tearing through blubber and making blood cloud the water around her body. Then the calf tries to dive. You're supposed to ram it or bite its tail to stop it from escaping, but you pause for just a second, trying to decide which move to use. That's all the time it needs. It drops past you into deeper water before you can react. Your mother breaks away from the mother whale and chases the calf down herself, driving it back up toward the pod with her teeth scraping its tail. She pushes it into the group, where the others surround it and bite until it stops fighting back. The hunt works, but it took twice as long because the calf escaped the first time. When the killing is done, the adults eat first. You wait at the edge of the group, watching them tear into the calf's belly and strip blubber from its sides. After a while, they move away and let you feed. There's less meat left than usual, mostly scraps near the bones. You learned how to position yourself during this hunt. Next time something tries to dive past you, you'll ram it without thinking. You're 7 years old now. You're hunting alone along a reef shelf, scanning the water for fish while the rest of the pod spreads across different areas miles away. Then a large, great white shark appears from below, rising toward the same school of fish you've been tracking. It's almost as long as you, so it doesn't turn away like smaller sharks do when they see an orca. The shark holds its position in the water, watching you. Neither of you moves toward the fish. Great whites usually leave when orcas show up, but this one stays where it is, blocking your path to the school. So you swim directly at it, building speed with each push of your tail. The shark turns sideways, trying to prepare for a counterattack, but you don't slow down or change direction. At the last moment, you dive beneath it and ram upward into its belly with your rostrum, flipping it completely over in the water. The shark goes stiff immediately, its body locking up as it enters tonic immobility. It can't move or fight back when it's upside down, so it just sinks slowly with its mouth hanging open. You follow it down and bite into its soft underbelly, tearing through flesh until you reach the liver. You rip it free and swallow it whole. The liver is the richest part of any shark, packed with oils that fill your stomach faster than regular meat. The shark's body continues drifting down into the dark water below the reef. You surface and breathe, still hungry but satisfied with the kill. You've just taken down one of the ocean's top predators using only technique, not size or help from the pod. You're 12 years old now. Your pod crosses paths with another group traveling through the same waters. Among them is a young female from a different family line. So you break away from your pod and chase down a seal in full view of both groups, breaching high out of the water after you kill it, and slapping your tail hard against the surface. The female watches from a distance, then crosses into your pod's space briefly and swims alongside you before turning back to her own family. You mate quickly in open water. Orcas don't stay together after mating, so when it's done, she returns to her family and you return to yours. Back with your pod, the matriarch starts positioning you at the front during hunts more often. You're leading attacks now instead of following the older females like you did when you were younger. Then you spot a humpback whale calf separated from its mother in shallow water. You call to the pod with a series of clicks, so the others swim toward you and wait for direction. You dive beneath the calf and drive it toward the surface where two ants are waiting. They block its path, while you circle around and push it back down, timing each rush to keep it from escaping into deeper water. The pod works together to hold the calf underwater until it stops fighting. Then you eat first while the others wait. That's a position the eldest females usually take, but they're letting you have it now. Male orcas never rule the family, so you'll follow her authority for the rest of your life. You're 20 years old now. You're hunting salmon near the coast with the pod, where the fish gather in thick schools during their spawning run. Then a fishing boat cuts through the water above you with nets dragging behind it, pulling in salmon faster than the pod can catch them. You follow the boat, trying to grab fish before the nets scoop them up. You manage to snatch one, but the net closes around 3 others right in front of you. So you push closer to the edge of the net, trying to steal another fish, but your pectoral fin snags in the mesh, so the tightening net cuts into your skin and drags you sideways through the water. You thrash hard, trying to pull free, but the boat's momentum keeps dragging you forward and the mesh digs deeper into your fin. You can't surface properly to breathe with the net holding you at an angle. Your mother and an aunt swim up beside you and ram into the net together, biting at the mesh until it tears. The impact loosens the tangle enough for you to rip your fin free, leaving long cuts down the entire length from base to tip. Blood trails behind you as you surface and gasp for air. The boat doesn't slow down or change direction. It just keeps moving forward with its nets still pulling in fish like nothing happened. You're 28 years old now. Your mother swims slower than she used to, taking longer to surface for air between dives. The pod is smaller than it was years ago. 2 members died from disease, and another vanished after a boat hit it during a storm. You're hunting in waters you've visited for years, but the salmon taste different now. Chemical waste from factories along the coast has been poisoning the fish for months, and you've been eating them without knowing. Your body moves slower through the water than it did before. You surface to breathe more often, and long dives leave you struggling to keep up with the others. A few days later, you wake up and the pod is farther ahead than usual. You push your tail harder, trying to catch up, but the distance between you and them keeps growing. They don't slow down or circle back. Then, you're alone in open water. You call out with a series of clicks, but nothing answers. Orcas stay with their families for life, but when a member can't keep pace anymore, the pod can't wait. You try to dive for fish, but your lungs don't hold enough air and you surface gasping after just a few seconds. You try again, but your body sinks without you controlling it. You float at the surface with your breathing getting slower and weaker with each cycle. Then you exhale one last time through your blowhole, and your body stops moving. You drift there for hours before sinking into the dark water below, where the current carries you away from everything you knew. That was the orca. Finally, meet the king penguin, where you are born into a brutal, freezing colony, completely helpless in a thin brown coat while you endure months of starvation. Blistering winds, and predatory seabirds constantly looking to rip you apart. You break out of the egg, somewhere in the sub-Antarctic. Your father shifts above you and you nearly slide off his feet onto the frozen ground below, but you dig your tiny claws into his skin and hold on. He hasn't eaten in weeks, and his body sways slightly as he adjusts his weight. You're wet, and your down sticks flat against your skin, so you push yourself deeper between his feet and the warm fold of skin hanging over you. That's when another chick nearby slips from its parent's pouch and lands hard on the ice. It tries to crawl back up, but can't reach, so it just lies there crying with its beak opening and closing. Your father takes a step forward to get closer to the other adults, and you scramble to stay balanced, your legs shaking under your own weight for the first time. Around you, thousands of other fathers stand with chicks tucked onto their feet, all of them packed together in tight rows. The wind picks up and blows snow across the colony, so your father hunches lower, and you tuck your head under his belly flap. You're hungry now, and your stomach feels empty, so you push your beak up and open your mouth wide. Your father leans down and regurgitates a small amount of thick fish oil directly into your throat. It's warm and fills your mouth completely, so you swallow fast and immediately beg for more. But he doesn't give you anything else and just straightens back up, staring out at the colony. That's your first meal, and it has to last until your mother comes back. A skua flies overhead in wide circles, watching the ground below for unguarded chicks. The exposed chick that fell earlier stops moving and goes still on the ice. Your father doesn't look at it, and neither do the others. You're 3 weeks old now. Your down has grown thicker and covers your entire body in brown fluff, making you look twice as large as you actually are. Your mother returned from the ocean days ago, and she's been feeding you ever since while your father left to hunt. She stands over you and leans down, then regurgitates partially digested fish directly into your open mouth. You swallow as fast as you can and beg for more by tapping her beak with yours, so she gives you another mouthful before straightening back up. You're heavier now, and your legs are stronger, so you can stand on your own without wobbling as much. A skua lands a few meters away and walks through the colony with its head turning side to side, scanning for chicks that have wandered too far from their parents. Your mother takes a step closer to another adult nearby, using the group for protection. That's when another chick breaks away from its parent and waddles toward a piece of dropped fish lying on the ground. The skua sees it immediately and lifts into the air, then drops fast with its talons reaching forward. It grabs the chick by the back and lifts it off the ground in one motion. The chick screams and kicks its legs but can't break free, so the skua carries it away over the heads of the other penguins. Your mother shifts her body and pushes you behind her feet with her beak, blocking you from view. You stay there and don't move until the skua is gone. A few days later, your mother calls out once and then walks away toward the ocean, leaving you standing alone. Your father appears hours later from the opposite direction and takes his place next to you, so you move closer to his feet and wait for food. Soon you'll be too big for either of them to carry on their feet. And when that happens, you'll have to survive without them watching over you every moment. Skip forward and you're 2 months old now. You're too heavy to fit on your parents' feet anymore, so they leave you standing on the ground with dozens of other chicks while they both go to the ocean to hunt. You need warmth and protection, so you waddle toward the nearest group of chicks and push yourself between two of them. They press back against you, and the group forms a tight circle with everyone facing inward, using each other's bodies as shelter. That's called a creche, and it's where you'll spend most of your time now. A leopard seal surfaces near the beach, where the adults walk in and out of the water. You watch from a distance as a group of penguins stops at the edge looking down at the waves. One of them dives in, and the seal lunges forward with its mouth opening wide, but the penguin turns sharply underwater and shoots past it toward deeper water. The seal doesn't chase and just floats back to the surface, waiting for the next one. Hours later, your parents return and walk into the colony calling out in a pattern you recognize. You need food badly, so you push through the creche and call back to them with your beak pointed up. Other chicks rush toward your parents too with their mouths open, begging to be fed. But your mother ignores them and walks straight to you, then leans down and regurgitates a stream of fish into your throat. You swallow as much as you can before she stops. Then she straightens back up and walks away toward the ocean again without looking back. Your father follows her, and they both disappear into the crowd of adults heading to the water. You waddle back to the creche and squeeze between the same two chicks from before, then settle down with your beak tucked against your chest. Your brown down will start falling out soon, and when it does, you'll leave the colony for the first time and enter the ocean yourself. You're 5 months old now. Your brown down has fallen away completely and been replaced by sleek black and white feathers that don't soak up water like the fluff did. Your parents stopped coming back weeks ago, so you haven't eaten anything since then, and your body has gotten thinner. You need food badly, so you leave the colony and walk toward the beach with a group of other juveniles who look just like you. When you reach the edge, waves crash against the rocks and spray water up onto the shore. The ocean stretches out farther than you can see and you've never been in it before, but staying on land means starving. Another juvenile jumps in first and disappears under the surface, so you step forward and drop into the water. It rushes over your head and pushes you sideways, but your feathers stay completely dry underneath and keep your skin protected. You kick your legs and flap your flippers, trying to figure out how to move forward instead of just floating. Then you tilt your body down and kick harder, so you dive under the surface for the first time. A school of small fish swims past just below you and you chase after them on instinct, snapping your beak at the closest one. You catch it and swallow it whole without stopping. That's your first meal you've ever caught yourself. You come back up to breathe, then dive again and chase another fish. That's when something large moves beneath you in the deeper water. You stop swimming and look down, trying to see what it is. A fur seal rises up fast with its mouth opening wide, aiming straight for you. You kick as hard as you can toward the surface and burst into the air, then the seal's jaws snap shut right where you just were. You swim toward the shallow water near the rocks where the seal can't follow as easily, and it turns away to hunt something else instead. You'll spend months out here learning to hunt, but you'll also need to keep watching the water below you because something is always looking up. Skip forward a bit and you're 2 years old now. You're hunting far from shore in deeper water where the ocean floor drops away beneath you. Your body is stronger than it was when you first left the colony, so you can dive much deeper and hold your breath longer. You spot a squid drifting in the water below you and dive fast, chasing it down as it jets away in the opposite direction. You catch up and grab it with your beak, then rise back to the surface to swallow it properly. While you're eating, an orca fin cuts through the water about 50 meters away, moving slowly in your direction. You need to get away from it, so you dive immediately and swim toward a group of other penguins nearby. The group notices the orca too, and stays together in a tight formation, changing direction every few seconds to make it harder to track any single penguin. The orca comes closer, and the group spreads out slightly, but one penguin separates too far and ends up swimming alone. The orca turns toward it and speeds up, closing the distance in seconds. The penguin tries to dive deeper, but the orca is much faster and catches it in one bite. The rest of the group, including you, swims in the opposite direction while the orca stays behind to eat. You surface far away from where the orca was and float there for a moment with your head turning side to side, checking the water around you. Other penguins start diving again after a few minutes, hunting as if nothing happened. You're hungry again despite the squid you ate earlier, so you dive too and scan the water below for movement. A school of fish passes underneath and you chase after them, snapping at the closest one until you catch it. You've survived this long by staying with groups and knowing when to run, but eventually you'll need to go back to land for a different reason. You're 6 years old now. Something drives you back to the beach where you were born, so you swim toward the land and climb out onto the rocks with hundreds of other penguins doing the same thing. You walk inland toward the colony, and it's packed with thousands of adults calling out and displaying to each other. You need to find a spot to claim as yours, so you walk through the crowd looking for empty ground. When you find a small space between two pairs, you stop there and stand as tall as you can with your chest pushed forward. Another male walks toward your spot and stops right in front of you. He stands tall too, and you both face each other, trying to look bigger than you actually are. Neither of you moves away, so he steps closer and you step closer too until your beaks almost touch. Then you lunge forward and bite at his neck, and he bites back at yours. You both grapple with your flippers slapping against each other's bodies, pushing and pulling to knock the other one off balance. He shoves hard, and you stumble backward but catch yourself before falling. You charge at him again and slam your chest into his, making him step back this time. He turns and walks away, so you call out after him to make sure he knows you won. A female walks past, moving slowly through the colony and looking at different males. You need her to notice you, so you bow your head and call to her with your beak pointed up. She stops and looks at you for a few seconds, then keeps walking toward another male farther down. You stay in your spot and call out again every few minutes, hoping to attract a different female. Hours pass and most of the pairs around you have already formed, but you're still standing alone. Your first breeding season didn't work out, but you'll come back next year and try again with more experience. Skip forward, and you're 8 years old now. You return to the colony and claim the same spot you fought for 2 years ago, standing tall and calling out to attract a mate. A female walks toward you and stops when she reaches your space, so you bow your head and she bows back. You both stand up straight and mirror each other's movements, calling in rhythm together. That's how pairs form, and she's accepted you. A few days later, she lays a single egg and places it carefully on top of her feet, then covers it with the fold of skin on her belly to keep it protected. You need to take your turn guarding it, so she transfers the egg to your feet by rolling it gently from hers to yours. You feel the weight settle onto your skin and immediately cover it with your brood pouch. Then she walks away toward the ocean to hunt. You stand completely still with the egg balanced on your feet, not moving even when other penguins walk past you. Weeks go by and you don't eat anything during this time, so your body gets thinner and weaker. A giant petrel lands near the colony and walks between the adults with its head turning side to side, looking for eggs that have been dropped or left unguarded. It comes close to you and you hunch lower over your egg, tucking it deeper under your belly. The petrel stops a few meters away and stares at you, but you don't move. Then it turns and walks toward another penguin, who has their egg sitting exposed on the ground beside them instead of on their feet. The petrel grabs the egg in its beak and flies away with it. Your mate returns hours later and calls out to you, so you carefully transfer the egg back to her feet and leave immediately for the ocean. You're starving and need to hunt as much as possible before it's your turn to guard again. The egg will hatch soon, and when it does, you'll spend months feeding the chick until it can survive on its own. You're 12 years old now. You're hunting deep underwater, chasing a school of lanternfish that keeps moving lower into darker water. Your lungs start to burn, but you're close to catching one, so you push deeper and snap your beak forward. You catch a fish and swallow it quickly, then turn around to swim back up to the surface. That's when a leopard seal comes up from below you with its mouth already open wide, moving faster than you've ever seen anything move. You kick as hard as you can toward the surface, but it's closing the distance too quickly, so you twist sideways trying to change direction. But the seal adjusts instantly and its jaws close around your body, teeth punching through your side and crushing your ribs. You thrash with your flippers and try to pull free, but its grip only gets tighter. Then the seal shakes you violently from side to side, snapping your spine and tearing through your organs. Your vision goes blurry and your flippers stop moving on their own. The seal drags you deeper into the water, away from the surface where you needed to breathe. Your body goes completely limp in its mouth. Then the seal bites down harder and tears you apart, ripping chunks of flesh away and swallowing them. What's left of your body drifts down slowly through the water, sinking deeper and deeper until you disappear into the black where the surface is just a memory above you. The seal stays behind to finish eating while pieces of you scatter in the current and drift away in different directions.